Hello everybody, I am Lori Cooch and I'm just trying to make sure this is recording. Today I want to play with the Distress Oxides, like always, because I just like them so much, and do some resisting techniques with a couple different products. I'm going to use the Flourishing Details and Background Stamp, and that is item number C1869. It is $14.95. So that is available on my website. There will be links to everything I use in the description below. And I'm going to also use the January stamp of the month for our sentiment in the middle. I'm going to use the Distress Oxides. Like I said, I'm going to use Mermaid Lagoon, which is one of our new colors, and Seedless Preserves. We'll have some Versamark ink and the clear embossing powder. So we actually have a couple different colors, but I'm going to use the clear and the Versamark ink and the Intense Black ink. Now I want to point out, this is just one of our regular ink pads. This is water-based dye ink. This will not work for embossing because it is water-based. It's going to dry really quickly. It's going to suck into that paper, and your embossing powder is not going to stick to it. We have other inks, the pigment-based ink. You can emboss with those, but I'm not using that color today. We're going to start with the Versamark, and then we're going to come in with the Intense Black on the second card. That is a solvent-based, so as long as your ink pad is really juicy, it's not going to dry real fast, and you have to be pretty quick to get your embossing powder on there before your ink dries. But that is the second card. We're going to do two of the same card, just with different inks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I cut some white cardstock. Excuse me, and our card bases are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I cut this at 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to be 1/4 inch off, and I will mount it on a different piece of colored paper to make the actual card. Oh, I need a block. That one might be too big, but it will work just fine. I'm going to take the stamp. You can see it's kind of dyed. I've used it on several other projects. Get everything out of the way, and I'm going to just put it face down on my, it comes with this little squishy thing. I don't know what it's called. I call it a squishy thing. I'm going to pick it up with my block. And then I am going to get my paper ready. So the first thing you want to do when embossing is you always want to use one of these static things. So this will keep the embossing powder off of where you don't want it. So you're just going to cover this, or just go over it with the anti-static pouch. Then I am going to stamp up my stamp using the Versamark ink. It's going to be hard to see, but the next card we do will be with the black, so that will be easier. You just want to make sure you have this every single place that you want it. And I'm just going to stamp it onto my piece of cardstock. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Just going to smush it down real good. With the bigger stamps, you just always want to make sure you get it pressed down evenly so that you get full coverage of everywhere you want it. And voila. And you can't see that, but I can. The next thing we're going to do is I have a piece of just printer paper that I have folded in half. I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to cover it in the clear embossing powder. You can be very generous with this because you're going to put any extra right back into that bottle. Being careful where I'm touching so I'm not smearing off anywhere that I actually want it to be embossed. Okay, I'm going to just set that aside while I put all my embossing powder right back into the jar. Now this one has, it's really close to the edge, so I'm just going to grab some tweezers so I'm not burning my finger while I'm heat setting this. This is an older style heat tool. I just haven't bought a new one because this one still works, but we do sell these heat tools as well. You probably can't see it, but I will be able to see when it starts to turn, and you just want to make sure you melt all that embossing powder. You'll see this really well when we do the black ink. It's not done. I'm just turning it so that I can get the other side of the card. And once your heat tool gets hot, it goes really quickly. Okay, again, you probably can't see this real well, but you will soon. So I'm just letting it cool. You want it to do that. I'm just going to get this scratch piece of paper out again. And I'm going to start with the Mermaid Lagoon. And I put all my little pads on the bottom with Velcro. And I'm going to just go around, not into the center because that's where my stamp's going to go, but just lightly around the edges in a circular motion. And now I'm going to come in with the Seedless Preserves. And blend it right into the Mermaid Lagoon. Is that what it's called? Yeah. You'll see you get different colors when they blend in together. And you can blend this as much or as little as you want. Just be careful not to put your finger in the middle because if you're like me, it's getting very inky and then you will leave ink prints in the center there. And that will work for me. I did get a little bit of a bobble right there, but I'm going to leave it and call it good. So the next thing is you just take, I just have a scratch rag, and if you come over, you'll see, get these out of the way, how where it was embossed, that ink just comes right off of it and makes the white, because that was the color of our paper behind it, and we used clear, shine right through. And that is the Resist. Now this is Distress Oxide, so I could spritz this with water and then it would get like that oxidation look. But I think with the design of the embossing powder or the folder, we don't need that. Do you see how that just all came out? I got one spot right here that's not really done. There. So now get a smaller stamp, a block. And I really like the You Mean the World to Me stamp. So I'm going to just put that right here. And I'm going to just use, I'm going to stamp it in Mermaid Lagoon. And you can do that. So there is one card front. I am going to go clean the Versamark. Well, you know what? I can do that right here. I don't have to go anywhere. Oh, maybe. Oh, I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached most days. I'm going to use our old spritz cleaner because that's what I have here. I do have the Stamp Chamois. It works just as well. This just happens to be what I have right here on my desk. Okay, so now we're going to do this same thing, same card, but we're going to emboss instead of with the Versamark. We're going to emboss with the, try to get everything out of the way, Intense Black. So same, everything's going to be the same. I'm just going to static. Get all the static off. And I'm going to ink my stamp really, really, really well because we want it super, super, super wet. And now I'm going to stamp that onto our cardstock. And I need the little squishy thing. Again, apologize for my head. When you use the Versamark ink, you have a little bit of time before it will dry, and you can still get the embossing powder on there. But again, this isn't that ink, so we want to get that embossing powder on as quickly as possible. Before your paper absorbs all that ink. Success. I always tend to sprinkle it on heavy, just so I know that I have really good coverage. And I gotta find my tweezers again. There's a pair. And now you'll see this black turn a lot better than when we did the white. Do you see it? Again, I'm going to just turn where I'm holding it. I'm just making sure that it's melted very good everywhere. I'm gonna let that cool down for a second. Do you see it? It's all set, so it's not gonna go anywhere. We're gonna do the same thing with the Mermaid Lagoon. I'm getting ink all over my desk. And now the seedless preserves. And this one, I'm going to come back in, whoa, with the seedless or the Mermaid Lagoon and do a little more blending down here to get a richer effect. So we got some deeper purples in there. Again, take our rag that you can see mine is covered in ink. Just gonna wipe it off, make sure all that black shines through. The black doesn't need to be as much because it's black. Now this one I could stamp it in the black, but I think this one we will stamp in the Seedless Preserves. there we have that. So now let's complete these cards with some mounting behind them and see how great they're going to look. Let me grab some paper. I will be right back. Okay, so typical for me, I had a technical malfunction. I went to grab some paper, came back, turned my recorder on, and it didn't record. So now I have completed cards that you didn't see me finish. But it was easy peasy. All I did was I cut, because I cut these that we stamped on at 4 by 5 1/4. I cut a piece of black cardstock at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is too close, you can't see it. And I used our solid core cardstock. Let me grab a piece so you can see. So we have new black solid core cardstock. All of our cardstocks have always been white core. If you don't know what that means, grab this one. You can see the white in there. So we have the wisteria and then it's white. And so all of our cardstocks, including our black, have white core, but we also now offer solid core. So for the black one, I mounted it on black, obviously. And then for the white one that we did just in the clear, I mounted that on the wisteria, put both of those down with some foam tape, and then mounted them on my card front. And that was it. That was how quickly I created that, and very disappointed that I had technical problems yet again. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will click subscribe and come back each time when I post a new project video. Couple things. The stamp of the month that I used, that is only available in January, and that is available for just $5. It's an $18.95 value, but it's just $5 with any $50 order, or it's free every month if you are a VIP customer and you place a $50 order. So I will put all that information in the description below, and how to join the VIP program and the benefits of that as well. And let me know in the comments which one you like better. Do you like the black one, or do you like the wisteria one? I have a favorite. I will, oh heck, I'll tell you, I'm kind of leaning towards the black one. I think it has, I don't know, I just like that combo. But I want to know which one you like. And remember, I send thank you cards with every single order on my website. So this could be one of the cards you receive. I send them in a clear envelope, so you'll get the original envelope and then a Post-it noted message from me inside, so then you can then reuse this card to send to somebody that you want to. I hope you click subscribe, and thank you for watching. Have a nice night.